Hello and welcome to another edition of Tom's AccounTech Bytes, your spirit guide through the world of accounting technology over the last 7 days. I hope you like the new background. I've just come downstairs. A change is as good as a rest, as they say. So enough of that. Let's get straight into the news. And we have a new player on the practice management software scene. So Client Engager, popping up at a time when a lot of software tools for accountants are either being bought or closing down, so very much bucking that trend. I'd say the biggest selling point is the fact that their pricing is based on the number of clients rather than the number of staff at your firm using it. So, as I say, good to have a new face. Next up, another HMRC boo-boo. This one's in a different area. So this is about the XBRL tagging. So tags you put on your company tax returns. HMRC has asked people to use the previous year's taxonomies. And a new podcast that I released. So this is a chat with Darren Fell, CEO of Crunch, about his accounting as a platform concept. Really good, really interesting chat about that. So as I say, do check that out on your podcast player of choice. Out into AI Corner now, and I spoke to Stuart Cobb, a chartered accountant and AI expert, who decided to put test out ChatGPT's accountancy chops by running it through a sample first stage ACA assurance paper, and did pretty well. 42%. I think the pass mark was 55. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Some interesting comments. I think dear old Hugo Fair in the comments sort of mentioned that it can pass a question to work out its search parameters and extract the results as grammatically correct text, and goes on to make the point that it sort of does. The tests at the moment are designed for ease of marking rather than testing understanding, so perhaps it will trigger more of a sort of change in the way that the tests are built, so a sort of knock-on effect, as it were. Staying with ChatGPT, this is a really interesting YouTube video from Leila Garani on sort of various, I think she's taken questions that she is asked about Excel and just stuck them in here, and examples. So it's a sort of 17-minute video of various sort of tricky questions that she's being asked. So yeah, again, it's quite interesting. I guess it's like sort of performing a series of Google searches and getting sort of having a bit of that Google research sped up, as it were. So yeah, interesting stuff. This is Rose, more OpenAI stuff here. Rose, I guess, like Airtable, a sort of beefed up, rich spreadsheet style program. So how to use OpenAI in that. So there's a bit on integrating it, and then you plug in something like the population of France is in millions, and you can get that. You can get it to find flag emojis. It starts to get a little more interesting around sort of cleaning up company names, so removing things like LLP, cleaning up addresses, sentiment analysis. So you can get it to sort of analyze whether comments on a social media feed, for example, are positive or negative, product reviews. Yeah, lots of different things that you can do with it. Create a table with dummy names and email addresses. I think JP Morgan Chase and Frank could have done with something like this, sped up that this week. But moving swiftly on, and obviously every silver lining has a cloud, as the song goes, and the Register has found that phishing emails are getting more convincing. That's a research paper from the folks at With Secure. What's next? Staying with the register, the Games Workshop, who, financially, they absolutely flew during the pandemic as people sort of stayed at home and played on board games, but they seem to be having a never-ending battle with ERP implementation and their Microsoft Dynamics. So, as with the County Council I mentioned last week, more issues there. Cybersecurity is likely to be a big theme this year. So again, the Guardian newspaper over here in the UK has suffered a ransomware attack. And finally, a bit of good news, I guess on the surface, there wasn't a single bank robbery in Denmark last week. They're sort of saying the sort of beefed up security and the reduction in the use of cash. I mean, if it's anything like here, I'd probably say there aren't really that many banks to rob, but that may be me being cynical on a Friday afternoon. Links to all these stories you can find in the show notes to this video. But for now, all remains for me to say is to thank you for watching, and if you're interested in receiving an accounting technology email every Thursday, then pop your email address in the box below. Thanks for watching. Bye.